This is the Fantasy Football Game Plan, where we talk about fantasy football and the NFL.
So, how'd you do? Are you in the final?
I am not in the final.
Oh,
I got kicked out at the end. I didn't really have any true successes last week.
I'm sorry, man. But one of us is in the final.
Oh wow! Congratulations! That's awesome.
By less than 2 points.
Wow! So that's a pretty great Christmas.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm super happy about that. It was a nail biter. He had Mike Williams, and he had the kicker. He had Dicker the kicker, and I had Palmer, and Palmer caught just enough to put me over the edge. He had like 1.6 points or something.
Oh wow!
And that's how much I won by.
That's great.
Whew, thank you. So that's a relief. So next week, championship week, and this is our last episode of this season.
Yeah, it's a mean nothing episode for me, as I'm not going to really change my roster from what it was last week, because I'll just be a bitter sore loser and go for third or fourth place as whatever. It's been a long season.
Can I ask you something? In your league, are your guys who are out of the playoffs? You have women in your thing too. Are your men and women who are out of the playoffs? Are they still permitted to pick up waivers? Because in my league they are, and it just seems wrong to me.
Yep, they're able to pick up. It's only the ninth and 10th team that are completely over. But if you finish 8 and above, then you can still play fantasy.
But the ones who are out don't get waivers anymore.
No, just 9 and 10 are out regardless, and it's only positions 1 to 8. So there's like, I don't know what they call it, right? But 1 and 4 play for like the top seed for the finals, right? And 2 and 3, and then 5 and 8 and 6 and 7 will play. So those 8 teams are allowed to pick up during waivers.
Okay.
Even though they're out of the money, but who knows? Maybe some people give money all the way down to the end.
Yeah, it just kind of bugs me. There's only 2 teams left, and as it happens, the guy I'm playing, he's out of waiver picks.
Oh wow!
And so I should, in theory, because I saved a waiver pick, I should be able to get my pick of what's out there because we're the only 2 teams that are relevant. But no, I'm second to last in waivers this week, so the whole league's going to get a shot before me.
You're over. Hopefully, the guy that you're playing against doesn't have Gardner Minshew, because he's probably the best quarterback to pick up this week.
Well, that's a good place to start. I kind of agree with you. If he plays, Gardner Minshew, I mean, he looked great against the Cowboys D, which is supposedly pretty good.
Yeah, that was your recommendation last week, and he took up 30 fantasy points in PPR, so he definitely was able to throw the football around. That's for sure.
Yeah, so he'd be the top pick, and then apparently Mike White is going to be eligible this week playing the Seahawks, so he's a good pickup.
Yeah, and then there's also the lo and behold, that Brock Purdy guy. But other than those 3, if you can't count on your quarterback you've had all season, I don't know if rolling the dice to get these 3 quarterbacks that we've mentioned either to get you into a different ranking. So,
well, I have to choose between Mike White and Tom Brady, so that's going to be tough. But there's one more guy, your guy, Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tua is in concussion protocol for the 3rd time this season, I believe, which is scary. And so Teddy Bridgewater will get the start this week. And so maybe somebody out there might need him. I don't know.
I heard on the first time he injured his head that the doctors said if you care about your life, you wouldn't play football ever again. And that was the first time. That was the very first one they had at the beginning of the season.
Oh, wow. That's scary. I didn't know that.
So I don't think this injury is going to this one here is probably pretty bad because like you can't just have 3 concussions like that in a year, like without compounding, and then like then you're going to have an off season where your brain kind of like gets to like rest and the consequences. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. It's a shame though, but I also feel too that maybe some of the injuries that he's hit is because maybe he's concussed before he even hits the ground, because his head when it hits the ground seems like he's just leading with it. So it's a nasty game out there. Some quarterbacks are lucky. They don't get hit as hard as others, but
yeah. Wow. All right. Let's move on to running backs on that note. Somehow Tyler Allgeier is still available in a lot of leagues, including mine. And it's just him and Patterson, and he's sort of taken over as the main back for some reason now.
Yeah, maybe Patterson's a little banged up. He's up there in age, that's for sure. And they're just giving Tyler more reps into next year. And maybe they're doing, like I said, last week he was playing 50% of the snaps, and he's getting more of the yardage, more of the grind work. So he's definitely a good pickup. I have him on my list too. And someone else that we've talked about in the past is Chuba Hubbard from Carolina. As their committee backfield is, he seems to be running the ball really well, and that offensive line looks really strong against Detroit. Maybe Detroit was just not as strong as they were in past weeks for the run game, but there was Swiss cheese last weekend, that's for sure. Holes all over the place.
That really surprised me. I left Foreman on the bench because the previous week, he couldn't even get one fantasy point. And then he goes up against Detroit, who's supposedly tough in the run, and just he put up 22 on my bench. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Anybody else for running back, you think?
Yeah, I got one more guy. Apparently Pierce for Houston isn't playing anymore. He's on IR, and Royce Freeman has taken over.
So Foreman, Freeman, Fournette, just so many F running backs out there. So many F and running backs out there.
Yeah, a lot of F and running backs.
Wide receivers? Anything?
Yeah. The most popular choice, I think, is going to be Juan Dotson from Washington. He had San Francisco last week, so I didn't really think that was a great play, and I don't even think we brought him up. But I'm bringing him up now because he was great against San Francisco, and that's a tremendous defense. Now they face Cleveland. So, I mean, if you need a receiver, go and get Juan Dotson from Washington.
Yeah, well, being a number 2 like that sometimes gets your benefits of catching those fantasy points, because Terry McLaurin was probably drawing the free safety over. So, you're getting a little bit a little bit more open. I had Dotson on mine as well too, and another receiver that seems to come back from injury right now. He could be available in many leagues. Is Hunter Renfrow as a flex. He seems like Derek Carr is throwing him the ball. I had him on my bench, unfortunately, for the beginning of the year. Did nothing, got injured, did nothing, had to drop him finally, and it looks like his fantasy and his level of play is actually getting back up to where he was last year. So if you need somebody in that flex position or wide receiver 3, pick up Hunter Henry, because he will get you some PPR points if you're
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Another guy I have is Isaiah Hodgkins from the Giants. I thought Slayton was the best receiver there, but it seems to be this Hodgkins guy.
New York is kind of like a fantasy roller coaster with who they're throwing the ball to each and every week. I'm not really too sure what to really expect from their team, because even this guy named like Richie James Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it doesn't matter. Like I think if you're gonna stick with fantasy, maybe Giants are not going to win it for you. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to put your bench together at the end of the day, but it seems like it's just a juggling match on that football field when it comes to wide receivers.
Okay, fair enough. There's one more name I want to bring up, because the third string quarterback in Arizona can only throw to one receiver, and his name is Greg Dortch. So we've had what's that?
I said that's too bad.
Yeah. It's too bad if you have DeAndre Hopkins, because he's a great receiver, but the ball's
And I had Hollywood Brown, so that's
injured again.
bad.
Yeah. Okay, so those were our receivers. So we're moving fast here. This is good. Tight ends. I'll let you go first.
New Orleans, baby. Juan Johnson. We've talked about him in the last 5 weeks now. His name has gone up. He's doing well out there. That's the only person I have as tight end. Since everyone else is a disappointment this year. And doesn't matter if Tyler Conklin has gotten a good play last week or 3 weeks ago. What's he going to do next week for you? Who knows? Look at the Chargers tight end. He was supposed to give people fantasy wins last week. He got 0 goose egg points yesterday because he never got the ball thrown to him. So, tight end, whatever.
I'm going to say Hayden Hurst because he's coming back from injury and he's on the Bengals, and the Bengals are hot right now. And so if he plays, he's a good play. He's available in a lot of leagues because he's been dumped because he's been injured. But now he's coming back on a good team. Take a look at Hayden Hurst.
That's a great pickup because I think maybe a lot of people dropped him just because of everyone's dropping tight ends almost every single week, trying to find that one that's going to do something for them. So that's a great suggestion.
All right. I got one more. Cade Otton from Tampa, because Brady seems to be throwing to his tight end a little bit.
Yes.
So he's missing Gronk.
Yeah, it's tough when your running game is not there. You have to just rely on your passing. So tight end. A lot of people are catching the ball. Even Gage is catching the ball a little bit more too, the wide receiver. So I think it's any good bet that you might get something out of a Tampa Bay ball carrier catcher.
Yeah. Okay. Defense. That's your category.
Jaguars looks pretty good. They go up against Houston this week, and then the Chargers with 7 sacks last night. Going against the Rams, Battle of LA. So that should be pretty good.
Those are good picks. I like that. I've got a couple. I've got the Giants hosting the Colts.
Or Colts.
Colts. And then I've got the Falcons hosting Arizona with the third string quarterback that we just talked about that can only throw to one guy.
Yeah. That's a good play.
All right.
Do you need a defense? Do we really need defenses? I said for some reason the Pats defense last week when I should have, in hindsight, had them on, but I guess that's what hindsight is.
2020. Mm-hmm. Okay, is it your week to do a kicker or not? I've got one.
Well, I figured like it was the last episode that I had to put in a kicker, and the team that can't score that we've talked about from the sunny state of Arizona. My man, party man, Matt Prater should be your kicker, as he will most likely get lots of points, and they're kicking field goals from anything 40 yards and out. So, party man Prater, I'm ending the year off with one of my favorite kickers of all time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. Mine's going to be Graham Gano because, again, the Giants are hosting Indianapolis. And they're just bad. So there'll be lots of threes and lots of singles. And Indianapolis is just a mess. So the season can't end quick enough for them or Denver.
Yeah. It was nice to have Denver play in the middle of the afternoon on Christmas. It was just a time I could be with my family and not even worry about anything happening on the television.
Yeah, no need to watch that one.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, will you have yourself a good week ahead? Hopefully you figure out who you're going to start at quarterback. That's probably your biggest decision for the week. Good luck.
Yeah.
Hopefully you do come victorious out of your week, and I probably will adjust my roster and and play for third place. I was just at the beginning of the episode.
Fight till the end, man. Fight till the end.
Exactly. At least go out with a hopefully a blowout on my part. So
okay. All right, good luck, and thanks for doing this with me this season, and we'll take a bit of a break.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
nice.
been fun. Good luck.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Fantasy Football Game Plan podcast. Need coaching on your lineup? Drop us a line and we'll discuss your dilemma.